Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Online Racing League with me, CRGGO. And today, to cap off or start our first race of the season, it's going to be phenomenal. The brand new season. And look at these drivers we got on the cover photo. Names you will have no doubt heard of, no doubt faces you've seen. Thanks to the Esports Pro Series, it's going to be a great pleasure to bring these guys into the ORL season. I literally can't wait. But I'm also joined by someone who I've been dying to commentate with for such a long time. That's Jess. Jess Games. Jess, how you doing?
Excited for the action to begin. As you said, we've got a high caliber drivers here tonight that we're going to be commentating on. It should be an absolute cracker tonight.
It's going to be an utter clinic. We cannot wait to see what happens. Obviously, last year's champion, Jana Watmir, once again setting foot on the grid of ORL, along with many of his fellow Esports Pro Series companions, that being Alvaro Caraton, the likes of even Shanaka Clay, who has been in amongst the top end of the professional. Simon Vigang, of course, remember him from last season. Also his formidable opponent, Barry Burumand, or Badia Burumand. Himself and Yano were very much throwing caution to the wind last season. Many epic moments were made by those two particular drivers. We're also welcoming Tino Nakarunan as well. The Williams Esports driver will be gracing us with his presence here at Monza. We're looking forward to seeing how all these guys get on. Let's not forget James Baldwin as well, donning the McLaren as he was officially named as McLaren's driver for their esports team. It's certainly going to be a fantastic season, Jess.
We kick off tonight in Monza, almost famously known as the Temple of Speed, and it also holds the fastest lap in F1 history as well, set by the Iceman himself, Kimi Räikkönen, back in 2018. The circuit was built in 1922 and was just the third permanent autodrome in the world at that time. Brooklands and Indianapolis were the two other autodromes built as well. There's going to be two DRS zones for overtaking tonight. One from the Parabolica to the start-finish straight, and one just before Ascari. It is 11 turns, 4 to the left and 7 to the right, with 5.7 kilometers long. And there are some famous corners such as Ascari, the Lesmos, the Parabolica, you name it. And we've got a few people just about to start their flying lap.
Hello, welcome back, folks. We are here for qualifying. Hope you all enjoyed that feature presentation of the hot lap indeed. We've just been catching up here with qualifying. As you can see, the numbers are cruising in right now. 117s across the board, separating P9 and P8 and upwards. Looking at the top end, Jarno Opmeer with a 117.723. What a phenomenal lap time. And literally finest. Like, the gaps between these guys, thinner than a fly's eyelash right now. Barry Broomerand, who we're riding on board with, just coming into the pit lane, a 117.749, literally ankle bashing at Jarno Opmeer here in qualifying, and followed, of course, by Simon Vigang, back again to face his two adversaries once again here in ORL. He is right up there as well in P3, and further down, Photon coming back into play after an impressive race in our exhibition earlier this week. But Jess, these times are phenomenal.
There was a few people that were saying maybe the 119s, 118s, but when someone told me earlier on this evening that people were going to go into the 117s, my mind was blown away, really. They really mean business here. They're the best of the best in PC, if not ever, in the F1 2020 games, and you can tell that they've been practicing hard, especially for the F1 Esports Series coming up as well. And with their amount of talent, obviously, there's a lot. Everyone pretty much is on the soft compounded tyres, which suggests to me everyone wants to start on the soft compounded tyres for the race, in particular the top 10.
Jarno Opmeer improving on his time with a 117.723 and looking extremely quick right now, donning the Alfa Romeo colours firstly in his first race back here at ORL. Obviously there was some hesitation as to whether we would see him again. Obviously he's got dedications to F1 Esports. Naturally, it's no surprise. A lot of these guys do. But Jarno has come out now and said he wants to take part this season, and it's always a pleasure to see him. 117.723 is the time to beat right now. You can see now Jarno Opmeer making his way down towards the famous Parabolica bend, and indeed he'll be commencing his fast lap. And you can just see there the subsidiary of the Ferrari team, or the second, considered by many the second string of Ferrari. Many young drivers coming out of the Alfa Romeo team, becoming future world champions indeed, as we now watch Jarno Opmeer make his way down towards turn 1. You can see there, driver on the right hand side, looks like a McLaren oh no, it's his teammate Nicholas Matteo, as they make their way down towards the Rettifilio chicane. You can see Jarno Opmeer now on the outset, his teammate just in behind. Little tail wiggle there from him. Unfortunately, I mean, that could have been costly if he was going at a bit of a quicker pace. Obviously, never nice to lose the car from beneath you, as we now see Jarno make his way round the Curva Grande and heading into the what will be the Roggia chicane on the outset towards the Lesmos. Now you've got two Lesmos to take, first one and second, both as dangerous as the other. If you swallow too much curve, you are going for a ride, son. We'll go for a serious ride indeed, as we're now riding back on board with Jarno, heading down the Serragilio straight, where he will have of course the DRS power heading into the Ascari chicane. Be careful on the entrance and exit. If you take too much curve on the exit, mind it's a slightly raised bump, you will lose traction. He heads down now towards the long straight, the famous Parabolica bend. Once again, in the distance, he goes under the Rolex banner on the right-hand side. You see the crowds littered amongst the grandstands here at the Monza circuit as he makes his way on the outset of the Parabolica. Will he go quicker once again as he makes his way up towards the line? Jarno Opmeer with a 117.528. Absolutely out of this world, my son. The Dutchman strikes yet again.
That was an incredible lap from Jarno Opmeer. He just found so much time in that lap, and we thought he wasn't going to get even better. He's gone even quicker, and just like a few other people so far, Barry's on a lap as well. He was quicker than his previous best as well, but Jarno Opmeer has set up a cracker already with only 9 minutes left to go, and the track starts to evolve as the session goes on towards the end as well. So I'm almost guarantee he's going to go even quicker again, as is most of these people. We could see a low 117 potentially into towards the end of qualifying. We still got two people yet to set a lap time. We just can't wait to see if anyone can go any quicker.
No, indeed, Jess, and certainly Barry Burman is just come into the pit lane as well. Not happy with the lap that he just set just now. Obviously now riding on board with Alvaro Carreton. He is in P3, but he's just been dropped down because Hayes, out of nowhere, the other Mercedes driver, into P2 with a 117.586, and Josh Oinowu into P3. What a lap from that man. Veloce surprise, as you well and truly quoted there, Jess. You were spot on. He is now in P3 for the Haas team. Phenomenal lap there from him, joining the top three of Jarno Watmere and Hayes as well. Barry Broman, who was in the top three spots, he's now in P4, dropping back as well as Tino Nakarunen, but he is out on a lap as well. So will we see an improvement from Tino as well as Alvaro Carreton? Both Williamses out on the track. Surely these guys have the talent to cause a shake-up at the top end, Jess.
As well, I do believe Tino is actually on his in lap, actually, as he's running out of fuel, actually, and he's on ERS mode 0. And to be honest, for those of you that are new to the F1 2020 game, there's only a few modes you can have in qualifying. Obviously, there's mode 0, and there's obviously hot lap mode, where they'll be going full throttle to hammer pedal to the metal, as I was going to say. I was trying to think of a right word, but they only have 2 modes, and in the race, they only got to worry about two things, pretty much. Overtake is one of those things, but they got to be careful with the overtake button that they don't drain out their battery. Monza's one of those tracks where if you use your overtake button too much, then you're going to lose your ERS very quickly, and if you lose ERS, you're going to lose a lot of power.
You certainly are. Obviously, you never want to be hammering out the ERS, certainly on this, certainly in this version of the F1 series. Naturally, if you leave it on overtake, it drains rather rapidly, so you've got to be very careful when you are indeed using it. Obviously, it seems to me that it's very useful as it is at the moment. Obviously, given the fact that you don't have to toggle between the various different ERS mode settings, so naturally that gives a lot of the drivers a little bit more of an advantage, and therefore we can start to see more effective uses of overtakes, certainly on the straights. And I'd imagine it really does conform even more so to a race setup. So naturally you'll be seeing the drivers using it effectively, especially here at Monza, where there are so many pungent straights where you can nestle in behind a car and obviously make use of his slipstream. Obviously, I think the slipstream has actually been banned on this occasion, obviously given the fact that these drivers are as good as they are. Obviously, they need to make use of their racecraft and their driver talent, their pace alone, to try and negotiate their way around these cars. So it's going to be interesting to see who makes use of the overtake setting better than their counterparts. It's going to be really interesting to see how these drivers respond to the changes made for this season in ORL.
Change as well, and another thing as well, tire temperature is a thing as well, especially in the formation lap, really, especially in the rain too. I found if your tires get too cold in the formation lap, it can really hinder you at the start of the race, and you'll get a really rubbish start. So to be honest, qualifying near the front will be absolutely crucial, because you get less dirty air and you have clear air in front of you, and you're more than likely going to get a good start as well. But Monza, potentially P2 could be a good start as well, because that is where we'll see the most overtaking opportunities into turn 1. And usually if you're in the number 2, then you're more likely going to go and get a better liners. We've got a few more people about to finish their laps. We've got Barry, who's about to finish his lap. So far, can he go even quicker? He goes 1/10 quicker, and he goes into P3 just behind his teammate Hayes.
Indeed he does. Barry Burman taking P3 spot, tucking in behind his teammate. A Mercedes 2 and 3 on the top 3 positions here at Monza. Phenomenal showing in qualifying by those men, and we'll certainly see more from them, I'm sure, going through qualifying. Obviously, we're coming towards the squeaky bum time, what I call squeaky bum time of qualifying session. We're now well within the 5 minutes left to go, and certainly looking further down, the Williams is still out and about, looking to improve. Yeah, Alvaro Carreton being one of them. He's coming around the Parabolica now. Sector 3 lit up right now in Williams colours, as you can see on the halo, as they make their way down towards the line. Indeed, the time looks pretty strong, and it is P4. He improves and goes ahead of his teammate and Josh Idawu. P4 for Alvaro Carreton, great time. But also, let's not forget the McLaren. James Baldwin is out and about, going around the second Lesmo, heading down what will be the Serigilio, where the DRS will be lit up, and he will punch it, heading down towards the Ascari chicane. Indeed, the quick chicane. Like I said, watch the curbs on the outset. You do not want to lose the car. That's certainly the last thing you want at this moment in time, certainly around a fast track like Monza, as he makes his way under the Rolex banners. The crowd's littered in anticipation to watch this McLaren light up this grid as he comes down towards this parabolica bend. You can see the swooping curve dead ahead as he now makes his way around, clinging to the curve for dear life there as he makes his way on the outset. The Armco banner on the left-hand side comes round into the pit lane. James Baldwin not happy with that lap.
Yep, he invalidated earlier on as well, which means he had to abort his lap on the track map that I got on my screen. It was completely red, so that means he has to go out again, and he doesn't have very long to do so, with 3 minutes left to go, of course, and due to the fact that quite a lot of people would be benefiting from obviously the straights such as Ascari and obviously Parabolica, they really want to get out very quickly, and just because it's a shorter lap, that doesn't mean you need to leave it out late. You have to go out as quick as you possibly can, but a lot of people, I bet you though, George, will want to be the last person out on the circuit.
I'd imagine you're quite right there, Jess. Just watching Tim Palm enter the pit lane. He is replacing Freddie Rasmussen here today for the race. Freddie unavailable to race here today, but obviously we will see him throughout the season. We have got a packed grid of absolute juggernauts in this field this season in ORL. It's absolutely exciting. I cannot believe we have packed in this much talent. It's the strongest, I suppose, league grid we have seen in so many years, Jess. It's absolutely unbelievable. Jarno Opmeer, Barry Boerman, Alvaro Carreton, Tino Nakarunen, James Baldwin, Simon Vigang. Need I say any more? We've got them all here at ORL, and that's exactly what we want to see, and this is why we show it. We want to bring up the new talent as well. We want to inspire people out there to take up the esports profession, and looking at many of the other drivers here on this grid who are also extremely capable of slinging out really good, fast, pacey lap times. It certainly is going to be enthralling. Maybe we'll see a wonder kid. Maybe we'll see someone we've never heard of start to really grab the bull by the horns here in sim racing, Jess.
See new people do well, obviously, and there may be people that absolutely fantastic. Obviously, we got people that are young as well, the likes of obviously Hypers, who is Tomek in the McLaren. He's only 14, so he's not qualified for esports yet, 'cause obviously he's too young, but oh my, I've seen him race in many online races before. I even raced him before, and I pretty much, it's amazing to race alongside him, even though he lapped me quite a few times, but it just goes to show how quick he is, and he practices a lot, as do a lot of these drivers, and in a few years' time, just watch for this kid, and he could possibly challenge for the top of the esports crown.
Absolutely, Jess, and I'm just following on with another young pretender, that being Nicholas Matteo in the Alfa Romeo. Certainly looks like a man with certainly wins on his mind. I watched him in an exhibition event the other day. He was absolutely brilliant. I got to say, the man packs pace, and we're looking forward to seeing what he can do around this Monza circuit. The Italian Grand Prix certainly hasn't been hit with this much talent in a long time, certainly in sim racing or esports for certainly a little while now, and we're now looking at Nicholas Matteo now make his way around the Parabolica. What is he going to post? Will he join his teammates at the top end of the classifications, as we now see Nicholas diving down towards the pit lane? Well, just on the outside of the pit lane, he goes P5 at 117.704. The two Alphas coming in to the top end of the top 10.
Constructors massively as well, and you really want to be working together pretty much in the race. So Matteo meaning business here at the moment, as the checker flag is just about to drop, with a few people about to come across the line to complete their lap. One of them is Shanaka Clay. He's 18th place at the moment. He can't do any better in terms of getting into the top 10. He's in 12th fastest. Roy comes across the line. He's in 13th. We've also got McLaren as well. Hypers, he is in P7. His teammate James Baldwin is going to cross the line as well. We got the two Renaults as well. It's just everyone's wanting to go for their lap pretty quickly as well. I'm not sure who's going to be the last to cross the line. I think it is one of the Williams drivers, so we're going to watch them, as we've got Simon Vigan. He's just finished as well. Barry cannot do any better as well. We got Jarno Opmeer. He's on pole at the moment. Is he going to do any better? Nope, he doesn't. He does not improve, but he stays in a pole position. Hayes invalidates his lap time. Volker just retired. We got one of the last Williams drivers. Can he knock Jarno off his perch at the moment? No, he can't. And I think that's it for qualifying, unless we've got the AlphaTauri of Calcifer down in last place at the moment. Let's see what he can do. I didn't see his last splits time, so I wonder if he's going to match and go into the 117. He's very good. No, he's not. He's into the gravel, and that's his qualifying done. So Jarno Opmeer, by 0.2 of a second, is on par with Barry in second, Josh in third, Hayes in fourth, and Caraton in fifth place.
What a phenomenal qualifying session here, Jess. It's been nothing short of enthralling. We have got top drivers littered across the classifications. Jarno Opmeer, though, spearheading the bunch there with a 117.390. Barry Burrowman there in P2, a 117.513. You can just see him coming out of the Ascari chicane now, heading down to what will be the straight. You can see that contingent of cars. Will it be a good day for the Tifosi? They've had a bit of a weak qualifying session. Manuel Biancollier is now in P18. His teammate, CRG Napadovsky, P12 at this moment in time. Have the Tifosi got something to shout about later on? It certainly will be interesting, folks. We want to see how these guys apply their strategies. Certainly it will be certainly a decision maker as to who might win today. But Jarno Opmeer taking the P1 spot there with a lap time of 117.390. Barry Borman in P2. Josh Idawu P3. Hayes in P4. Alvaro Caraton P5. Best of the rest for Williams, that's for sure. Nicholas Mateo P6. Tomek Peradzik P7. Simon Vigang P8. Tino Nakarunen in P9. Photon P10. James Baldwin P11. Nabadovsky P12. Tim Palm P13. Remember, he's subbing in for Freddie Rasmussen. Shanaka Clay, P14. Roy Arnouts, P15. Alvaro in P16. Nardi, P17. Biancollier, P18. Calcifer, P19. And Jake finishes off the rest in P20. But what a grid we got for the Monza GP. It's going to be absolutely phenomenal. Jess, what are your predictions?
It's a hard question because A, it's the first race, and also the top 20 all separated by 9/10 of a second. That is amazing, I've got to say. I mean, it only took one mistake for some of these guys, and it costed them quite a lot of positions. I mean, that's just absolutely crazy. It's just going to be hard to call, but one of my favourites going into this race has got to be the reigning champion, Jarno Opmeer. He's took pole here today. Can he convert it into a race win? Well, we have to find out as the session goes on, George.
We certainly will, Jess. These guys will be throwing caution to the wind. They know each other's pace. They know how each other tick. It's going to be interesting. Certainly Monza is certainly a track built on speed. You've got the tight chicanes, but as soon as you're out of those, you're putting your foot straight on the power to bend yourself through the likes of the Curva Grande, maybe even the Serigilio, or the run up to the Parabolica, or even the Rettifilio Tribune, or the straight as it's known. And it's going to be interesting to see who can handle this circuit the better, who's going to make use of the corners, the Ascari chicane, who's going to come out quickest and take the advantage heading down the straights. Oh, unbelievable. I cannot wait. They're just about to line up onto the formation lap now, and as you can see, leading them off is Jarno Opmeer, Barry Burrowman right next to him. I'm sure Jarno is looking to the right, very wary that these two have fought like dragons in the past. They're certainly two of the most formidable drivers in the league. Barry Burrowman has taken the world by storm, certainly with his pace and his talent. And he'll be in with a great chance, I'm sure, as well on the front row of the grid alongside last year's the reigning world champion Jarno Opmeer. Josh Idawu in P3, obviously looking to set his team alight as well. Haas could do with something to celebrate. Obviously in real F1 they have struggled. In behind as well you got Hayes there, the other Mercedes. What can he do today? Certainly lit up the classifications, putting himself on the top end alongside his teammates earlier on in qualifying, but nonetheless he is up there fighting with the best of them. Alvaro Caraton in P5 for Williams. We know what his pace is like. We've seen it season in, season out. Last season he joined ORL for a brief period and took it by storm. The endless battles. How can you forget the battles between him and Jarno going into what was a phenomenal race at China? I got to say, the battles, the overtakes were out of this world, and I'm sure today is going to be no different. Everyone in the live chat, we got 110 people lit up amongst the people in the live chat. Please submit your selections as to who you think is going to win this Grand Prix. Answers on a postcard, please, folks. Any driver can win this. The talent here is absolutely unreal.
Actually go into the race action, a quick glance at the strategy here today. The top 11 on the soft tyres, the top 10 had to start on the tyres they set their fastest lap on. The pit window is lap 10 to 12, but they can go for the undercut in lap 9, but they got to be careful because if they go to lap 13 on these tyres, that is where we hit puncture territory. And we may see some people, just like the bottom half, do mediums to softs, but I think that's what these guys will be trying to do, the alternate strategy. Vulcan, interesting enough, Nardi is on the same strategy as the top 11. Let's see how we could do towards the back of the grid and see if we can get past the ones on the medium compounded tyres. And I'll hand over to you, George, for the start.
Thank you, Jess. Yes, the first pedal to the metal, go, 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 go of the season. Can't wait to bring it to you here, folks. The driver's just lining up, ready for the start of the race. Here we go, party on! And it's pedal to the metal, go, 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 go. Bit of a delayed start, but away they go anyway. Jarno Watmir first out the blocks alongside Barry Burman. Sweeps across to the right side, almost blocking off his teammate Hayes, heading down towards what will be turn 1, the Retifilio chicane. The Haas there of Josh Ainowu, diving down the inside of Barry Burman on the outset. Takes P2, what a move by the man in the Haas. Controversy at the back, Hayes gets nudged off. Moving up the grid, Parancic, Matteo with Simon Vigang. Yellow flags in sector 1, chaos at the start, but Jarno, he's cruising in front, going through the Roche chicane. Jess, it's underway.
Here in Monza, Hayes has dropped down a low position down into P13 as well, but the biggest gainer there, Tino in the Williams, 3 places up to 6th place, Shinaka Clay up to 11th, Avaro up to 13th, Emmanuel up into 15th place with the 2 Ferraris giving something to shout about. And already we're going to see moves going through into the Ascari chicane, in particular with Matteo and Tino coming up here at the moment as well. They quite need to use their overtake quite quickly as well, but not use it too much as they go through the parabolica, but they want to try and save as much as they can as the strategy keeps popping up on my screen. But enough about that, the overcast conditions should make things, I think, a little bit trickier than obviously normal, because obviously the tyres tend to overheat quite a bit, but we'll have to wait and see, of course.
Here we are riding on board with Tomek Parancic, the man plugged into the back of Alvaro Carreton as they make their way down towards turn 1. The blue flags raised, pay no attention. Early start, obviously issues with certain telemetry systems here at F1 2020 will be resolved soon, I'm sure. But there is Tomek Parancic riding on the back end of Alvaro Carreton. Don't be fooled again, folks. He is not in P1, but he is battling at this moment in time. We've certainly got a feast for our eyes as we now see the cars make their way down through the next chicane, that being the Rogium on the outset. Now heading down towards the Lesmos, the McLaren chasing down that Williams of Alvaro Carreton now. Barry Burman just ahead of him in P4, but the gap is still ominous right now. Jarno Watmir leading the way, leading the charge for the Alfa Romeo team. It's been nothing short of exquisite, folks. The drama is not yet finished. We're going to be seeing more as they make their way down towards the next chicane, that being the Ascari, and indeed the gap there between Tomek and Matteo has increased slightly, but Nicholas Matteo, don't count the man out. He will fight to the death for everything he gets.
He's got to worry about his tyre wear as well and temperature, because the more you get stuck with these battles, the hotter your tyres are going to be. So they've got to be a bit wary and make sure that they push and only take risks when it's absolutely necessary. And it looks like Matteo is going to go for the move, and the DRS is enabled, folks. It will on lap 3 out of 27, and they can only use it within 1 second of the car ahead, and if they're in the DRS zone, of course. So we're going to see the DRS detection zones come up in any moment. Jarno Watmir will be one of the only ones not having the advantage of that. Barry already out of DRS range of Josh in 2nd place, but everybody else is going to take full advantage of this DRS straight, using the overtake to full advantage here as well. But with only 2 DRS zones on this entire grid, George, this should prove to be a little bit more challenging.
Absolutely, Jess. It's certainly going to be absolutely challenging for every single one of these guys. Doesn't matter how much experience you pack here in sim racing. Certainly everyone is in the same boat. They're all driving the same cars. The setup, the pace is exactly the same. It's a question of how you drive the car. As we now see James Baldwin trying to hunt down Simon Vigang. How many times did we see this last season? James Baldwin, the world's fastest gamer, proving that he still is that around this track at Monza, trying to close the gap on the Haas of Simon Vigang as they make their way under the Rolex banners, soon to be coming around the famous Parabolica curve, where they'll be making their way down to start, should I say, lap 4 of lap 27. Certainly a long way to go, folks. Early doors, and yet the drama is not yet finished. They make their way past the pit lane. You can now see Simon Vigang just ahead of James Baldwin, dashing down the stretch now. Photon in behind him. Remember, 2 seasons ago, he was the world champion here at ORL, and I'm sure he would not hesitate to add yet another one to his already glistening trophy cabinet, I am sure, Jess. But certainly, it's all to play for at this early stage. But at the moment, Jarno Watmir is still leading the charge.
They're already pulling up a gap to Josh as well, 1.5 seconds. He's found 5 tenths in the last few laps, actually. So he's doing absolutely a brilliant job. As soon as he got clear of Josh, he's pulling away as well. He was saving a little bit of earth as well, I've noticed. And noticeably, a bit of fuel too. So that's going to help him start to push and get away from these guys that are wanting to take away Jarno's Opmir's title like a magnet, pretty much, as well. But Matteo on Tina Nakarinen once again, as we got our first penalty of the day. Hayes' race is going from bad to worse, down in 15th place so far. A few people have also made their stops. Obviously, Jake had damage. I think Jake has been brake checked by someone. And Calcifer in 19th place also had damage as well, so he had to go into the pits. Everybody else yet to make their stops, of course, because the pit window will hit around about lap 9 to lap 10. So don't expect pit stops just yet unless we get any damage from some of these drivers. The pace is just remarkable. They're still within DRS trains of each other.
I was just about to comment that, actually, Jess, the DRS train is very much alive and well, and certainly it's going to be a question is who's going to be the first to break it and be able to generate enough straight line speed in order to make a crucial overtake. Indeed, it looks like Alvaro Caraton right now is plugging all over the back of Barry Borroman as they make their way around the famous Curva Grande. No Grande moves just yet, to quote Crofty, that's for sure, as they make their way down towards the Roger chicane. Barry Borroman still in P3, but he knows that Alvaro Caraton, a man that drives like a possessed beast, looking to make his move up on the asphalt of the Monza circuit as they make their way around the first Lesmos. The second one beckons, making their way around it, sticking close to the curves to get the most, the best execution of corner as they can as they make their way out, heading down the Serigilio towards the famous Ascari chicane. Barry Burman still sticking to P3 with Alvaro Caraton bearing down on him like, I don't know, he's an absolute, I gotta say, he's a mystic. Alvaro Caraton is a man that's able to pull out a move like nobody's business. I've seen it before. He did it at China last season, and I'm sure he'll do it again. The battles are still yet to come, folks. The DRS trains are still lit up, but for how long will they last, Jess?
Well, even the DRS train is just so hard to pass on this circuit because everyone is having DRS, and it shows that having overtake and DRS is just so OP on this game. They have more to worry about, and it's just going to make it a lot harder unless the car in front doesn't not have DRS. And we are seeing the full effect because Barry doesn't have DRS, whereas Caraton is. So the question is, these guys have got to get out of the DRS quickly if they wanting to give their team, basically their rivals, a disadvantage, really, because they don't want to be within their slipstreams because they're going to gain even more time otherwise. So that's going to be the crucial factor going into the rest of this race. Obviously, they're pushing on the softs now, but for how much longer? They don't want to wear their tyres up too much. Don't forget, these are the tyres they've been using in qualifying, so that's even more crucial. And if they use their softs too much in qualifying, then it could come to full effect. But who's going to do the undercut here today? I wonder. Will people stuck in traffic a bit more will opt that? Maybe Barry will probably be the first one to blink potentially and get ahead of his rivals potentially, or maybe even Caraton as well. We'll have to find out very soon.
Yes, Jess, strategy is the big question mark. Who's going to be the first to break as they make their way down the straight once again, heading towards the Parabolica? James Baldwin, the world's fastest gamer, proving to Simon Vigang why he is just that, trying to really notch him behind that Haas and his gearbox, literally almost sitting in the car with him right now as they make their way down the stretch. Can he make use of the DRS to make a crucial overtake? He just can't generate the pace. Obviously, without the slipstream, these guys are going to have to pull off every bit of grind and push and persistence as they can as they make their way through the first chicane, the Rettifilio on the outset, heading down to what will be the Curva Grande. Simon Vigang still ahead of James Baldwin. He's just behind Nicholas Matteo, the man with raw pace, who is actually 1.1 seconds behind James Baldwin's teammate Tomek Peradze, who's in P6. So will this allow Simon Vigang to make that crucial overtake and try and take P6? Could that be our first move of the day, Jess?
See moves as of yet, but I'm guessing some people want to be the first to blink and try and go for the move, but they don't want to risk it here, especially around Monza, where we may see the most instance out of a majority of the tracks on this circuit as well. Don't forget we've got Baku and Monaco as well, where it's quite narrow than this circuit, but they all seem to be doing it clean so far, which is really, really great to see. And obviously they're very talented drivers. As no, they're not going to blink as of yet. I mean, you know, I think the DRS is just helping them a lot, that they just can't get past quickly enough. And obviously the ERS battery is just draining and draining on some of these guys as they try and get closer and closer each lap. I'm seeing Barry riding on board with Barry right now. He's only on 6% battery. He's going to lose so much time. I have a feeling Caraton is going to catch up to him very, very soon.
It's not just the battery, Jess. I just saw Tomek Peradžić go in for a little bit of a ride around the parabolic, and the grip of these tyres are falling off. I repeat, they are falling off, and these guys will now really have to manage them carefully. Obviously, the pace that they're going, the raw pace, they're going to have to judge every corner with precision. It's got to be done just right to avoid heading into an Armco barrier. That's the last thing you want, or sitting in the kitty litter, to quote the great Murray Walker of yesteryear, as we now see Nicolas Matteo rounding the next right-hander very shortly, making his way down the stretch. You see Tomek Peradžić now getting closer and closer to the front end of that Alpha. Is Nicholas finding a second win here in lap 8? We'll soon find out as they make their way down towards the Serracilio straight, heading into what will be the Ascari chicane. Can Tomek hold on? Because obviously you can see the gap is now beginning to increase. I'm wondering whether the setup has allowed Tomek to have more straight line speed, indeed allowing him to increase the gap on the Alpha driver Nicolas Matteo. Maybe that is the case. We will find out, I'm sure, very soon enough. But I'm sure that the only twist in the tail here is going to be the strategy. Who's going to make use of the pit stops more effectively and try and generate themselves with an advantage? That is the big question mark here today, Jess.
Clouds are starting to open up. I'm seeing a little bit of sunlight as well, which means we may see a bit of blinks for people going into the pit lane. As I was speaking, we got a few people in the pits already, going a lap earlier than I thought it was going to be for the undercut. Tina, one of the Williams, is pitting for the undercut, and so is Simon and Hayes as well. So they'll be going on to the mediums till the end of this Grand Prix. I wasn't expecting to do that, Alex. The earliest I think they would go is lap 9. I think the mediums are going to take quite a hit towards the end, but they're quite confident that they can nurse those tyres to the end. They may hope for a safety car. They may hope they could have some clear air so they can save those tyres. But I wonder if the undercut is going to pay off for those drivers, as we're seeing one of the battle as Alvaro goes past Shinaka Clay into, I think it was turn 5, I believe, just for the first Lesmo. So there he goes up into P10. Shinaka struggling just a little bit there around Monza, but yeah, and they're not on zero lap or mediums. They've been on mediums since the very start, and they'll be going on to the softs round about lap 14 to 15 is when they'll be going on to the red tyres as the bottom half will, apart from Nardi, who started on the soft compound the tyres. Let's see what the front guys will do now. Can they respond to the top guys? Well, they got to, really, because otherwise they're gonna lose so much time. Jarno stays out, Josh stays out, and I think the top 4 stay out. But we got Barry, Tomek, Matteo, and Photon all deciding to go from the softs to the medium compounded tyres. The top 4 staying as they are. James Bolt with another guy staying out as well, drawing light to Caraton, Josh, and Otmir staying on those soft tyres until they go onto the mediums around about lap 10, lap 11, George.
Indeed, Jess. We're also seeing a little bit of a tussle between the two Ferraris. We're now seeing Napadovsky being rounded up on by Biancoglia there. His teammate in the red Ferrari. The prancing horses coming in tandem as they make their way into the Roggia chicane. Indeed, Shinaka Clay recovering after his battle with Alvaro. Obviously, just rounding onto the kitty litter there. Biancoglia, obviously, that didn't help. The two prancing horses in real sufficient danger at the moment, not performing as to expectation of the Tifosi here at Monza. And certainly they'll be looking for an upturn in their spirits, but certainly ahead as we now see Biancoglia now looking on the outside of Napadovsky, making their way down towards the Ascari chicane. Who's going to come off better? Is it going to be Team team orders, or they're going to fight to the death. No, indeed, it's going to be Collier. What a move indeed. But on the outset, here comes Lapinovsky. He's not done yet. He is right stuck in behind that of his teammate Collier, as they make their way down towards what will be the famous Parabolica. Collier shuts the door instantly, not letting Lapinovsky through. It certainly is a war of attrition as they round the next bend. The medium tyre is a little bit slick there for Lapinovsky on the outset, and indeed, he makes his way down the straight as we see more cars go into the pit lane, Jess.
I know what, man, and also Josh and James and Caraton as well. So we're riding on board with Tino, who pitted a few laps earlier compared to the rest of them. Is he going to make the undercut work on some of them? They do, as Barry breezes past some of them as well on those medium tyres. And good on Tino as well. He is ahead of Caraton and Vigat and Josh as well. Josh had a poor pit exit, to be honest. He's been jumped by quite a few cars, whereas Jarno Opmeer's got the job done once again, as in he's your net race leader.
He is indeed, and Jarno Opmeer once again pretty much leading the charge there with Barry Burremand and Alvaro Caraton tucked in behind him as well. Not forgetting these two had an incredible battle last season. We saw it all unfold. The drama was absolutely unreal as Jarno goes for a ride there, nearly loses the back end of his Alfa Romeo as they make their way down the straight, the Serigilio straight, and bombing down to what will be the Ascari chicane. Indeed, Barry Burremand trying to close the gap. He knows he needs to try and get close to Jarno Opmeer in order to make use of the DRS. He's only got one chance because Jarno, he knows, will pick up his bags and take them home with him. Here in lap 11 of 27, we're not even close to halfway yet, folks. We've got a long way to go, and this race is going to pack a punch as they round the Parabolica bend now. The Silver Arrows bombing up through now, pushes his foot on the gas. The paddock on the right-hand side lit up with the crowds and the Tifosi there cheering on their famous Ferrari as they now make their way down. You can tell that Barry Burremand in the Silver Arrows knows that he can't leave any stone unturned when it comes to Jarno Opmeer. It's going to be absolute drama from start to finish, and I can't wait to see what comes next, Jess.
Indeed, I think Barry was having luck running on low ERS again, whereas Jarno has been on 49, 50% pretty much for the whole lap. So Barry is struggling with his ERS management, as it seems. That's probably why he's not getting so much time on Jarno Opmeer, because obviously Jarno will probably be using the overtake button to try and get away from the likes of Barry and Tino as well. And I'm worried about Barry because the two Williams are pretty much the prancing horses at the time being. They want to get as many points as they can in the constructors as well, in the drivers as well. I wonder if Tino's going to close in lap on lap. Tino's on the same ERS as Jarno Opmeer at the moment, and I think Caraton is on slightly higher ERS as well, so it's going to benefit those Williams drivers more than the Mercedes drivers at the moment. The two Haas cars are still hanging in there, but since they're lower down the field at the moment, that means they can save their ERS.
They certainly can. The battles are still raging on, though, further down the grid, or in this case, further up the grid. Shanaka Clay, the battle rages on. Tim Palm coming out with Alvaro into turn one, but here comes the racing point there. Shanaka Clay, he wants revenge from earlier on after Alvaro shut the door on him. But indeed, the racing points can't strike this time. And indeed, as they round the Curva Grande, Alvaro knows that he's there 5/10 behind Tim Palm. That little battle there with the racing point of Shanaka Clay gave him a chance to kick on and allow the Red Bull to create a gap, and indeed he's making the most of it. He is still treading or leading the charge with these cars tucked in behind him, including the two Tifosi cars, that being the prancing horses, the Ferraris of Lapinovsky and Pierre Collier. But still the battles rage on as we now see the two Ferraris plugged into each other round in the second Lesmo. It's still all to play for. Jess, I don't know who's going to blink first, but I gotta say, it seems to be the closer these guys get to each other, the more likely we're gonna see the drama unfold.
Don't pull off a strategy they do in real life, to be honest, and let's hope that they don't double stack, because otherwise it's going to cause so much chaos in this race. But we only got a few more laps to go until the medium runners decide to go and box, but I'm almost certain one of the Ferrari drivers has to do the undercut, otherwise they're going to be held up so much right now. But they're going to keep battling anyway, and obviously the boss of Ferrari going to let them anyway, as here comes the Napadowski in towards turn one. He's going to try and get some slipstream from his teammate as well, but look at his teammate, he's going to try and get the switchback into turn one. Can he do it? No, not at the moment, as they stay in position right now. The in P4, the Tifosi are cheering on for both their men right now, but all the Tifosi are hoping is for the Ferrari drivers to not crash. It's some great racing, and I'm glad they're keeping it on the track and giving us some great racing, George.
They truly are. It certainly shows to be, I've got to say, a Charles Leclerc and Vettel clinic. I just hope we don't see any scenes like we did at Brazil last season. Obviously, we don't want to see any punctures or any dramas that takes both Ferrari cars out of the race. Let's hope that they're all on the same side here today at Monza as they make their way down the straight, that being the Serigilio towards the Ascari. Dead ahead, though, Shinaka Clay still trying to poke and a peck at the Alvaro car. The Renault for Alvaro making his way out of the Ascari chicane. He himself trying to close the gap on Tim Palmer, who is now 4/10 of a second, or under 4/10 of a second ahead of him at this moment in time. As we look further down, Jarno Watmir still trying to close the gap himself. He's now within 2.5 seconds of Roy Arnouts. That time is literally being lumberjacked. I gotta say, he really is lumberjacking at those lap times right now. Barry Borman in P8, currently 1.5 seconds. That gap is growing, I say growing, since he came out the pit lane. I'd imagine that ERS has been absolutely red since he's left the pit lane. Jarno Watmir with unbelievable pace, still technically needing the charge based on pit stops, but looking further down, Alvaro Carreton is also in trouble because Simon Vigang has come to life here in the Haas as they round their way out of the next chicane, leading up their way towards the famous Curva Grande. The Haas car plugged in. It's a battle of the Titans here, Jess. Who's going to blink first?
Charge once again, he had a poor start and he's forgetting the troubles from the start of the race. He says, hang on, let's continue carry on from where you left off in obviously the eSports series where he's done so well, and continue that momentum into this second part of the race. He's doing a lot better than the first part of the race, and it just goes to show it's not where you start, it's where you finish, and that is his main goal for Simon Vigan right now as well, and his teammate is not that far behind as well. Meanwhile, the battle for the medium runners are still going strong. The ones who still yet to make their pit stop is Tim Palmer is coming off Shinaka Clay. Shinaka Clay's in the Racing Point and Tim in the Red Bull, filling in obviously for Rasmussen, who can't be here today as well. It's crucial that these guys need to make sure they're ahead of each other in the pit stop. We've got one of the Ferraris blinking first. They're doing the undercut, whereas everyone's not. It's going to be three wide going into turn number one. Who's going to blink first? And Shinaka Clay is going to try and get a better exit into turn one, but Tim defends for his life. Alvaro is the biggest loser out of all of this. He hasn't lost just not one position, but 3 positions. This gone awful for the Renault driver. But look, he's coming back once again for P1 potentially, if not P2. But Shinaka Clay is going to try and hold on to his line. There's a little bit of contact though going into turn 4 and 5, but I think Alvaro got P2, and the Ferrari has spun off. Who's that? That's a Manuel, and that's the Tifosi are not liking that at all, and he stopped in the circuit. They're not going to be pleased with that, that's for sure, and I'm sure he's going to have to have a change of front wing pretty soon. But meanwhile, who's going to be ahead in terms of the top 3 on the track? I mean, to go onto the soft compounder tyres, and the softs around this circuit is almighty quick, and if they've been leaving it for that long, then this is going to be a spicy end to this Grand Prix.
Absolute drama here, Jess, in lap 16 of 27. We've been waiting for it for ages, but the Tifosi indeed, much like Leclerc and Vettel from last season, have come together, and indeed the drama has lit up here at Monza. But looking further afield, obviously Shinaka Clay battling with Alvaro, and indeed all 3 of them now in the pit lane. Tim Palm leading the contingent into the pits, and indeed that allows Jarno Watmir to take the official lead of the Grand Prix. Barry Burman in P3 with Alvaro Carreton, P2, sorry, my telemetry's a little bit wrong, folks. Jarno Watmir leading the charge. Barry Burman P2 in Alvaro Carreton in P3 with Simon Vigan P5. Josh Idawu still there in amongst the rest. Tomek Perantic, what a string of cars we have here. The DRS train still very much alive. Who's going to give it a kick in first as they make their way around the Curva Grande? Jess, it's anybody's race.
They can't make too many mistakes really, because otherwise the guys behind are going to get them as well. But look at Carreton on his teammate Tino. He is charging right now. There's only 1 spot on the podium left potentially. 2 if Tino can catch up to the Mercedes of Barry as well. We're almost certain that the win could go to Jarno, but we see surprises here in this league, and we could see a surprise here tonight. But Jarno has got to keep his head focused if he wants to win this race. As long as he keeps the car on track, he's absolutely fine. as well. But Barry's still not good with his ERS management, whereas Tino, he is doing absolutely brilliantly, but his teammate is doing even better right now. 70% of his ERS still available to be used, and he's got enough to actually use the overtake as well. Could he get past his teammate, or will he be forced to stay behind him for team orders? We'll have to find out pretty soon as well. We may see the same situation happen with the two Cascars, or also on the same strategy as well. Will Josh try and get the move on Simon, or will Simon have to hold on to that position? We'll have to wait and see, of course. There's just strategies happening everywhere. I don't know who's going to get the last podium spot. We know Jarno potentially is, but who's going to get P2 and who's going to get P3?
That question will be answered in the next 9 laps, that's for sure, Jess. We now watch Simon Vigan make his way through the Rogier chicane. He is now chasing Alvaro Carreton like a man possessed once again. The Haskar in P5 or P4. Actually, not quite so sure. Tino Nakarunen is currently, according to my telemetry, leading the race. Obviously, we know that's not currently true. Is he at the moment
He's not.
Is he in P3 at the moment? Or P4?
Yes, he's P3. He's P3.
He is indeed in P3. So Tino Nakarunen in P3 being chased by Alvaro Carreton. Josh Idawu in P4, obviously, in P5, sorry, or P6. I don't know quite which.
P6.
He is indeed in P6. And he's chasing Simon Vigan as they make their way down the straight, heading down towards the Parabolica bend. The right-hander, the swinging right-hander, Tomek Paradzik, P7. The string of cars leading all the way back to Photon as well, who is in P10 at this moment in time, albeit P9 now, according to my screen. So we're jumping all over the place indeed. I think he is in P10 though, as we now see Alvaro Carreton diving down towards the first corner. It truly is going to be a question of who is going to blink first. We don't know, folks. We just don't know who is going to be the first to blink. It's going to be absolutely out of this world. Please keep posting your predictions down below. Who do you think is going to win this Grand Prix? Is it Jarno Opmeer's day, or who's going to take P2 and 3? Answer on a postcard, folks. Light up this live chat.
Yeah, exactly. And also, we haven't talked about this much. Track limits could play a factor as well, as corner cutting, I believe, is on strict. So we could see a lot of people getting more penalties as the race goes on. We've seen a lot of people get penalties early on as well. And we've seen in some races in ORL last season where penalties could decide a position in this race. And we don't want that. We want to see a position being gained on a track. And most of these guys have been keeping it clean, with some of them trying to not get any more penalties, because otherwise they're going to drop down a few positions, as well as a few. You can extend some corners in regular, but in strips you can't do that. And the stewards are watching very, very closely at the moment, as we as commentators, obviously, for the next couple of laps or so, as Jarno Opmeer just about to start lap 20 of 27. Barry is closing the gap by a few tenths in that lap, so Barry is catching up just a little bit on his pace. But we also got the two Williams prancing as well that could potentially make the move pretty soon. Carleton could be the one who's the first to blink soon, but he's just not going for it yet.
No, indeed, Jess. Certainly Alvaro Carreton currently stationed where he is right now, trying to chase and gun down his teammate. Of course, very, very tightly grouped, this bunch of cars. Certainly the top 10 very much glued together almost, and nothing separating them, as we now see Barry Burman, Alvaro Carreton, Simon Vigan entering and exiting the Rogier chicane as they make their way around the first Lesmos once again. But Jarno still leading the way. He is now 1.8 seconds clear of Barry Burman, and indeed doing extremely well. Alvaro Carreton also in behind his teammate Tino Nakarunen, and this contingent of cars leading its way down towards the Ascari chicane indeed. Further down, Simon Vigan and Josh Idawu there as well. Tomek Paradzik P6, Nicholas Matteo in P7 as well. The Alpha still not out of the woods yet. He's chasing down Tomek Paradzik in the McLaren car, and indeed, how long are these guys going to be able to keep hold of these medium tyres? Will they be able to last till the end? Because they're really pushing as hard as they can. Naturally, this has a gigantic effect on the tyre wear, that's for sure. But Tomek Paradzik in the McLaren, still stationed ahead of Nicholas. In behind him, in behind Nicholas, he's in a McLaren sandwich because James Baldwin is tucked in behind him as well. You can't separate these cars whatsoever. The gap's thinner than a fly's eyelash, Jess.
Until the end of this Grand Prix, is look at this train right now. One tiny mistake could possibly have someone ending up in the wall or something, and it could cause a little bit of an incident. We don't want that to happen. And for those of you that are wondering Obviously, the top 12 at the moment are on the medium compounded tyres. Everyone down from 13th to 18th are on the soft, and then obviously the ones who had wing damage had to pit for hards at the start of the race at the end of lap 1, so that is why they're on the hards, and they'll probably go on the softs at the end as well. Meanwhile, Shinaka Clay got past Roy for P16 as well. Still, he's chasing down Navarro for P15 as well. Still, the battle rages on between Tim Navarro and Shinaka Clay as well for the midfield spots towards the back of the grid as well. It's great to see that everyone is having a battle, not just the front pair as well, which is great to see as well. Nobody is blinking at the moment. I think, George, they're just going to wait for the final few laps to give us the match, because otherwise they're going to be losing their ERS quite quickly.
They certainly are, Jess. They're just rounding the parabolic, and now we're riding on board with Tomek Paradzik, making his way round now, trying to gun down on Josh Ida, who is in looks to be in P6 on my list at the moment. Simon Vigang ahead of him. Alvaro Caraton P4, still gunning for his teammate still, and I got to say, really doing his best, or his hardest at least, to try and close the gap. Ahead of him, though, remember, is Barry Burman and Jana Watmir. Jana Watmir still leading the Grand Prix, and indeed looking like he's going to try and sew this up here with 5 laps left to go as he rounds the famous Curva Grande, heading into what will be the next chicane. The Rogier enters and exits well. In behind, Barry Burman pushing for all he's worth to try and close the gap on Jana Watmir. Indeed, it's a matter of 1.6 seconds according to the telemetry on our screens right now. In behind Barry is, of course, Tino Nakarunen and Alvaro Caraton, who are themselves doing battle amongst teammates, obviously a little bit more gracefully than what the Ferraris were doing earlier on, that's for sure. Simon Vigang still very much in it as well. The two Haas cars in tandem, a very different performance we're seeing from Haas here today as opposed to what they're doing in the real world of F1 racing. But that for sure follows suit with Williams. It's very much opposite land here in ORL, Jess.
That's great to see with the equal cars as well. Just because you're in the Mercedes, that doesn't mean you're going to be fast as well. There's a few guys that want to see the tyre graphics, if that's all right with you, George, just to see how everyone is doing. Ignore the people on the soft tyres, as they're not on 25 lap older. So if someone has binned it, I think that's one of the Red Bulls, I think, towards the Parabolica. Oh, I think it was Roy, actually, who's binned it just a little bit there. He's dropped it down a little bit for Shinaka Clay now. He's down into 17th place already. That's not good. Well, already the time is ticking to see who's going to get the final podium spots here for the first race. They don't know the true pace of these guys until the first race, and now in the second race next week, they're going to know who's been their rivals and what they need to work on for the next race. As Manuel's got a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane, and the Tifosi hearts are broken as he's the first driver to retire from the session. I think he wasn't happy with his performance, so he just said, nope, I'm calling it quits, and retired from the pit lane, which is the best thing to do right now. Obviously, they have been asked to retire in the pit lane if they retire by choice, of course. But that means it's going to be a yellow flag in Sector 1. That's why we're seeing a yellow flag in Sector 1. But one Ferrari driver down, George. This is not looking good for the Tifosi, is it?
Not at all, Jess. It certainly has broken hearts around the circuit of Monza. Italians and Ferrari supporters across the world alike are going to be in mourning here today to see their team not quite gracing the top end of this race here at the Italian Grand Prix. But indeed, we're in lap 24 of 27 now. Jana Watmir, one more step closer to victory, with Barry Borraman still closing the gap. As you can see it behind, Alvaro Caraton and Tino Nakarunen. Simon Vigang in amongst it as well, closing up on the Williams of Alvaro Caraton. In behind him, Tomek Paradzik. I'm not quite sure what happened to Josh Idawu as well, because he seems to have disconnected and he's down to P9, Jess. I'm not sure what happened, but he is not where he was before, unless that's my telemetry having a little mare again.
He left the session, so that's why obviously the two McLarens and the Alfa Romeo and Matteo got past him. So his hard work has pretty much gone undone, and that is a shame for Josh after a great qualifying session. It's going to be a shame. Hopefully he gets back towards the end of the race, because otherwise he's going to lose so many points. He may even lose a point, actually, and he's got a lot of work to catch up on in the next race. But let's concentrate our eye, obviously, on the front field as well. We've still got Matteo in that McLaren sandwich of Tomek and James Baldwin as well. Still not blinking at the moment. Voton getting a penalty. This may play dividends towards the end of this Grand Prix right now. Are they saving their engine modes towards the end of this Grand Prix? It looks like they are, at the moment, but I wonder if people are going to go for risky moves for position, or are they going to stay there to get these crucial points? We'll have to find out. We know Matteo's going to have a look. Yes, he does. He's going to go to the right-hand side of Tomek right now, and he's going to keep to that line going in towards turn 1. Tomek not challenging for the move at the moment, and Matteo is up into 6th place. Absolutely fantastic from the Alfa Romeo driver as well. And here comes James as well, challenging his teammate for 7th place as well. This is great from Matteo. That could be one of the rising stars of the future very soon.
It certainly will be if he pulls off moves like that as they come round the Roger chicane. Indeed, the McLarens must be kicking themselves. We now see Tomek just nip the gravel trap there on the left-hand side, exiting the Roger chicane. Certainly wasn't ideal for them. James Baldwin now having a little peek on his teammate now, going around the second Lesmos to make their way down through the Serigilio bend. You can see there Tomek, the gap has increased between him and Nicholas Matteo. Watch this wonder kid, Nicholas Matteo. He is going to be one to watch for the future indeed, and already closing the gap on Simon Vigang on the exit of the Ascari chicane now. You can see the Haas there in full flight underneath the Rolex banners. It has been nothing short of exquisite watching these top-end drivers make their way around the Italian Grand Prix circuit as they go round the famous Parabolica bend. You can now see dead ahead the likes of Simon Vigang ahead of Nicholas Matteo, burning for all he's worth as they make their way into lap 26 to 27. Jarno Opmeer still leading the charge with around 2 laps left to go, Jess. It's going to be a corker.
Good news, hopefully he can make up for time lost. He's lost 2 positions, so hopefully he can climb back up in a second. But don't forget, chat, driver of the day vote is now open, so you can look at the link in the chat. Go and click on it. I believe it's a straw poll. Yes, it is. And you can vote for your favourite driver. Who do you think deserves the vote? Who do you think has stood out from the rest this evening? Do you think it's Jarno Opmeer, who has held on to the lead for so long? Or do you think it's someone that's gained quite a few positions? Or maybe someone that's nerves their tyres to the bitter end? The driver today votes are open until the end of the Grand Prix. And if I were you, I would wait until potentially the penultimate few corners, because it could change everything, just like in real life. But get your votes open, as obviously the winner will get driver of the day. Obviously, the game will probably think of something different. Us commentators will think something different, and so will you in the audience, in the live chat. Let us know your predictions as well, or who you think should get driver of the day by voting on that straw poll. As we're sitting on the penultimate lap right now, as Jarno Opmeer is going to win this race almost certainly, but the podium is still going strong for the 2 Williams drivers. They wanted 2 Williams on the podium, and it could still happen. But I think Tino is going to try and make sure that he can get past Barry right now. But again, he's still a little bit further back to do so right now. But we're seeing the gaps closing just a little bit more as their engine modes have been turned up high. I think quite a lot of people are turning their engine modes to rich now for the final lap. This is the moment. They've got to give it their all. They've got to make sure they're saving their ERS as much as possible. And we don't know who's going to get to the podium. We'll have to wait and see. Simon Vigan could still be coming in the picture as well. Maybe Matteo as well. We don't know about penalties as well. This is going to be very, very exciting as they all navigate around the Lesmos pretty soon as well. This is going to be a almighty finish, and I wonder how the 2 Williams are thinking, George.
I bet you they have got daydreams in their head right now. You can now see that Alvaro Carreton knows that he's got Simon Vigang in behind him. Tino Nakarunen, though, leading the charge of the Williams team in P3 right now. Jarno Opmeer in P1, of course, as they now come up towards the famous Parabolica for the last time. Jarno Opmeer looking to strike the first blood here in the ORL season as they are around the famous Parabolica. Jarno Opmeer, the Dutchman, came. He saw. He indeed conquered. The crowd lit up on the right-hand side and the left. The pit lane is beckoning Jarno Opmeer, the winner of the Italian Grand Prix in race 1 of the ORL season. Barry Burremand in P2, Alvaro Carreton down in P4, of course, because Tino Nakarunen finished in P3. Phenomenal racing indeed for the back top eight.
Penalty.
He got a penalty.
Tino got a penalty, so he's down in P6. He got a 3-second penalty on the final lap. So that means Carreton finishes P3, Tomek in P4, Simon Vigan in P5. So Tino's dropped 3 positions. That is not good at all. Matteo in 7th, James Baldwin in 8th. Voton has moved 1 position up into P9, and Nardi gets the final point as well, which means that one of the Ferraris have just missed out on points by 1/10 of a second. But the star of the show has got to be Jana Otmir. 5.3 seconds clear of Barry in P2. Amazing.
Absolutely phenomenal race, Jess. I got to say, we were left our mouths gaped open. We could not believe what we were seeing. Literally, Jarno picking up his bags at the start, pretty much sending them home as well, donning the famous Michael Schumacher's helmet as well in the process. Alfa Romeo are going to be absolutely delighted with the result that their man has brought home here today. Jarno Otmir is the winner here at the Monza circuit. The Italian Grand Prix lit up for Alfa Romeo. They have given Nardi as the driver of the day, or Nardi Tanitsa, as he's now shown here on the circuit of Monza. They now come to the top step. Indeed, Jarno Otmir is leading, or won, the Italian Grand Prix and will inadvertently lead the Drivers' Championship. Not forgetting our finishers as well. Alvaro Caraton P3 and Bardia Buremand in P2 for the Mercedes team. What an absolute corker of a Grand Prix, Jess.
Enjoyed that, I must say. Well done to all the drivers, and it's just astonishing that they were all ever so close of each other. I do believe no one was lapped as well, and I need to see who got the fastest lap of this race, and it was Alvaro in P16, which I believe no one gets a point for that since it's outside the top 10. But look at all those penalties, George. That really decided the outcome for most of this race. But heads up to Jana Otmir and Tomek as well. Only two drivers to have no penalties, so they get the squeaky clean award today, as I like to call it. So well done to both of them. Everyone else has got at least one penalty, with Tino Nakarinen getting a penalty on the final lap, which is a shame. And obviously he had 3 seconds beforehand, but now he's on to 6 seconds as well. Let's go through your order. Jana Otmir takes the win with Barry in second, Caraton third, Tomek in fourth, Simon in fifth, Tino Nakarinen in sixth, Matteo in seventh, James Baldwin in eighth, Bolton in ninth, and Nardi in 10th. And then we got Napadovisky in 11th, Tim Palm in 3rd. Josh, unfortunately, after his poor disconnection, drops down into P13. Hayes in 14th. Then we got Shinaka Clay in 15th, Navarro 16th, Roy in 17th, Calcifer 18th, and your last finisher, Jake, in 19th. And your the only retirement in this Grand Prix is one of the Ferraris, Manuel Bianchi, but I can't even say his name. Manuel, anyway. And that has been your Italian Grand Prix.
What a race, ladies and gentlemen. It's been an absolute pleasure calling this tonight. We will have driver interviews as well at the end of the race, obviously, like we usually do here at ORL. But like I said, it's been nothing short of a pleasure. Absolutely brilliant. Credit to all the drivers that have shown up here today. It certainly was an enthralling race. We were very lucky, myself and Jess. Jess, I got to say, first of all, it's been a pleasure having you alongside me here today.
I say thank you for inviting me. I only got the late call last night to do this for most of this season, and to be honest, I'm really enjoying this tonight, and I'm looking forward to next week as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's certainly not over yet, folks. We've got a long way to go indeed. It certainly does not stop here. The thrills and spills will be coming from all angles right through this new ORL season. We're looking forward to seeing who has got the best of the bottle here. Indeed, Jana Otmir leading the charge at this moment in time. But like we have said before, we've got a long season ahead. It's going to be really, really phenomenal to see who picks up the wins in the remaining races here in ORL. But we have surely got one of the strongest grids in ORL history, and certainly that race proves it, and indeed proves it with a vengeance, that we have got the strength and quality of drivers to really blow your mind there at home. I hope you're all enjoying it. We certainly did. Let's move on to the driver interviews now, because we're looking forward to seeing the guys who obviously came out on top here at ORL here in the Italian Grand Prix. We're just waiting for them, obviously, to join us, of course. And as soon as they do, we will bring you news of that. But, Jess, let's just go through a review of what happened here today. Obviously, Jarno Otmir picking up the plaudits like we expected. He's just joined us, actually, in the casting booth. Hello, Jarno. Can you hear us?
Think so.
Think so. We got all three of them. In fact, we might as well start the interview now. We've got all of them with us now. Brilliant. But I got to say, what a race, Jess.
It was brilliant from start to finish. I mean, if this is what it's going to be like for the majority of the season, then I can't wait. And someone's speaking. Who's that?
Was that you, Jarno? Check. Testing.
There might be a delay, I think. I'm not sure.
Yeah, satellite delay. We have satellite delay. We're hearing something from Jarno's line. Alvaro, are you there?
Hello.
Hello. Ah, there you
Yes!
are. There's Alvaro. We got Alvaro. And Barry. Is Barry there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, there he is. Speed Barry. Mr. P2. We got Mr. P2 and Mr. P3 here. Just waiting on Mr. P1, obviously, and we can get this underway. Jarno, he's back in the room. Jarno, how are you?
Yes, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm living the dream. Living the dream, I must say. Phenomenal. We'll get this underway anyway. I got to say, we'll start off with our race winner, Jarno Watmere. Jarno, did you ever imagine? I mean, obviously, the strength of cars that we've got this season, obviously a massive jump up from last season. Indeed, qualifying was, I would imagine, of the utmost importance to get ahead of these guys, considering the DRS train. Can you sum up that result and how much it obviously meant to yourself?
Yeah, setup felt really good. I was in a good flow, so yeah, that obviously helped. But also qualifying went all very well. I managed to get 4 laps in, which was very important. And then obviously in the third run, I put a PB in, which helped as well, of course. And then yeah, the start I made after 4 or 5 laps, I made some silly mistakes going into turn 1, but I managed to stay out of DRS, so that was crucial. Made one mistake with 3 or 4 laps to go by getting a warning, but nothing major. So had everything quite good under control, and managed to finish first, pretty much.
It seems to me that preparation certainly has been the key. Obviously, I've seen that you've been quite active, certainly when it comes to streaming and obviously, I suppose, getting involved in leagues and preparing for the Pro Series, because obviously, like many of you in the ORL Racing League this season, you're all going to be taking part in the Pro Series events. I take it preparation was key this season. Just give us some indicator as to how much work has gone into getting ready for the new game and the new F1 Series edition.
Yeah, I've been putting in a lot of hours, also with streaming, which I'm still quite a little bit new to. Yeah, I cannot stream my league races, of course, because we have to keep something secret. But yeah, I will be streaming some more stuff, of course, and obviously I'm gonna try and win every race possible this year. I think I'm a lot stronger than at the start of last year. So yeah, I'm quite confident about this year's game.
Certainly as well, obviously the constructors was quite a pressing matter for you as well when you were driving the Mercedes. Obviously this season now, you've got a teammate in Nicolas Matteo. Now Nicolas, we haven't heard much of him, but obviously recent races I have seen him in, he looks like a very formidable driver himself. Do you think that Alfa Romeo have what it takes? Because judging from what we can see, there seems to be the makings of a strong partnership between yourself and Nicolas. Do you think we're going to see more from this kid, and will we be seeing Alfa at the top step of the ORL Constructors title?
Yeah, I already know Nicolas for quite a long time. I think already for 2 or 3 years. And he's always quite fast. I think in this field, obviously he's gonna struggle a bit more at the moment. But yeah, I think he got P6 in qualifying, which is really good considering the field. And yeah, he's been practicing a lot, of course, trying to get into F1 esports as well. Surely if he keeps going like this, I think he was 1.3 tenths off P2. So yeah, he was doing a very good job. And I think surely he will get consistently into the points if he keeps driving like that.
Well, he certainly is a prodigy and certainly someone to look out for the future. And I can't help but wonder what his career could be if he keeps doing what he's doing. But I've got to say, for yourself, phenomenal victory, Jarno. And I'm sure we'll see you beckoning the top step once again. But congratulations from me. Got to say, and Jess as well, I'd imagine as well. Phenomenal result. And we'll look forward to seeing what you can do next week.
Thank you.
We'll now move on to Barry Burrowman, our P2 man. Obviously, once again, back on the top step here in ORL. Barry, we missed you.
I miss you too. I really miss you guys. But yeah, this season I'm back because I've seen like the field is really like every good drivers are in. Yeah, but the race didn't really go well for me, but anyway, GG to Jarno and Alvaro.
You were locking horns right through the race with Jarno. It was almost like flashbacks from last season. I mean, obviously, we expected you and your raw pace to make a definite comeback. Obviously, a lot of excitement surrounding the new blood that are coming through in the F1 Pro Series at the moment. Obviously, like Jarno, I suppose, I'd imagine the preparation work has been quite intense for you. Can you give us an indication of how much work you've been putting into your season that's coming up shortly?
Yeah, to be honest, I'm gonna practice really much for upcoming weekend. And actually, the setup, the car, everything feels good. But I really did really silly mistake. Like in the quali, I lost so many times. My PB was 0.2, but I did a 0.5. I don't know, like so many times my first race in the league race doesn't really go well. Maybe because I'm a little bit nervous. I don't know. But anyway, like in the race for the first couple of laps, I did a really silly mistakes. Get 3 warning actually only in 3 laps. It's not really good. But yeah, it is like sometimes it is not your day and you couldn't fight it. But yeah, I will take P2. It's not really bad, but yeah, I'm looking forward to challenge Jarno for upcoming race next week.
Absolutely, I'm sure everyone watching as well will be waiting with bated breath. I mean, obviously, there's many drivers that can really take a push for the top spot as well. I mean, obviously, reviewing last season, can you obviously you must have noticed the step up certainly in terms of the drivers that we've got here. I mean, ORL in development at the moment of 3 split series at the moment. We got 3 different splits of drivers at the moment in terms of different divisions of talent. Naturally, of course, this being tier 1, the top tier. Just summarising briefly as to the quality now this season we have got in this A split.
Yeah, like I wasn't really, to be honest, going to join ORL, but when I seen the field and see like it is going to be improvement, I seen, so I'm gonna be joined. Why not? Because I seen so many good drivers are in. So yeah, it's a really good. I really love challenge. So yeah.
Phenomenal. I got to say, congratulations on a P2. Great to see you back in ORL as well. I'm sure we'll see more battles from yourself as well going through the season. But once again, congratulations on that 2nd place. Well done.
Yeah, thank you so much.
No problem. We'll move on now to, last but not least, Alvaro Caraton leading the Williams contingent here again. Alvaro almost picking up from last season. Great to see you back in the Williams car, donning the white and blue once again. Just summarise that race for us. Obviously, it was stiff out there. Your teammate Tino looked like he gave you a bit of a run for your money as well. Great to see you guys here in ORL as well. Obviously, we've seen you sparring off in the Pro Series as teammates as well. Obviously, you know each other's systems. Do you think that helped you today?
Hello all. Well, to be honest, I did the maximum I could get today because I started practicing my first laps in Italy, like after lunch today. So yeah, I'm really happy.
Bit of a late
qualifying.
Bit of a late start, was it? Having a bit of a lunch first, and then thought you crack on.
Yeah, I didn't even know if I was going to race. So yeah, I'm really happy. Yeah.
No, I mean, fair play. It was certainly a very different ORL race to what we saw from last season. Obviously, the DRS train pretty much lasted from start to finish, obviously pit stops included. There obviously seemed to be no separation amongst the grid order. Did that make it extra difficult to make those crucial overtakes? Because obviously, when you've got no slipstream and you're only making use of the DRS where you know that the rest of the grid have DRS as well, just summarise for us as well how much more difficult overtaking is in that situation.
Yeah, I think it's more difficult to overtake because you have the delta every time. You have the new mirror, like you are controlling every car every time. From my side, I had a really bad start of the race because I was P4, but I got 3 seconds in lap 7, I think. So yeah, I decided to calm down, follow the car in front, and it paid off because Tino got 3 seconds in the last lap. So yeah, really happy.
Well, you come into this season with such a strong driver pairing. Yourself and Tino, like we said, both formidable esports drivers. Just give us, where do you see Williams going this season in ORL? Are we going to be seeing a potential Constructors' Championship? Because I got to say, you're both very capable of collecting decent podium finishes and points. are we going to be seeing Williams really challenge for the Constructors' title this season?
I don't know. We always try to win races, score more points as possible, but it's only July. We need to work a lot, and we need to improve our setups as well. So I don't know. It's only the start of the game, not even a month. So yeah, I don't know, but we'll fight for it.
Good man, and of course we'll look forward to seeing you fight for it right through the season as well. Congratulations on a P3 finish, and no doubt we'll see more from yourself in the future as well. Jess, anything from yourself as well?
I think he pretty much sums up what I was about to say brilliantly. Obviously, well done to Jarno for continuing where you started, and obviously well done to our 2 podium sitters as well. And I'm almost certainly we're going to see different podium sitters, I think, every race due to the high caliber drivers tonight. So I am looking forward to seeing who's going to end up in those seats next week when we head to round 2 of the championship.
Absolutely, we can't wait as well. And just to mention to you guys at home as well, I hope you enjoyed the commentary that myself and Jess brought out for you today and the coverage that was brought to you from ORL. Please don't forget to leave a like and a subscribe as well to the channel to stay in tune or up to date with ORL content. Obviously, races will be happening for the immediate future on Sundays until the AOR season starts. We will then be moving to Thursday nights where we'll bring you more live coverage of the season. But stay tuned. Be sure to leave a subscribe so you know first of all, firsthand, when those streams are going to take place. But I got to say, I think that pretty much wraps things up here at ORL. It's been a pleasure. But from myself, George Morgan, CRGGO, and Jess Games 95, it's been a pleasure. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.